We're just talking about the worst feeling ever when you lose your child for even just a brief moment when you know that they are not right by your side. We were at the food court at the mall, Liam and I were, and this woman was standing there sobbing. Liam's like, why is that lady crying? She was there with security, and she was talking about how he was 5 years old. She's showing pictures so they could go find him 20 minutes later. I can't even imagine how long of a time that felt for her. 20 minutes later, they come walking up with him. He's smiling like he just, whatever. I'm just going to go shopping on my own type of attitude.
You guys, this is how different the world is, by the way, right now. I remember being a young kid, like for sure before I was a teenager, 10, 11, maybe 12. And my parents, anytime that we would be able to go somewhere, they'd always let me bring a friend. Always. And I remember my little friend Sam and I walking into Toys R Us.
Yeah.
All right. Like the big ass Toys R Us, not the offshoot one that had 4 aisles because they couldn't buy a big enough store. I'm talking the one that was like the size of an airplane hangar. And my mom and dad just going, all right, guys, back here in 15 minutes.
Yeah. I know.
And you were free to do whatever you want. That is how I remember going to the mall with my dad, Christmas shopping at like 10 or 11 years old. And he'd be like, all right, back here. I want to meet at Music Land in 25 minutes.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I could trust my kid. It's other people you can't trust anymore.
Absolutely.
Like I can totally count on him to be back at a certain time, but my heart, I was just watching this mom and I just felt so bad for her. So I want to know that moment when you lost them for just a brief second. What happened?
Randy, this is your son or your daughter you lost at the zoo?
It's my daughter, and this is kind of a little bit of a long story, so...
Well, we got a few hours on the show every day, so knock it out. We're looking to fill time.
Try a nutshell, whatever.
Father's Day, I did the math in my head while I was waiting to get on with you.
Okay.
Father's Day, 27 years ago.
Whoa.
So we were having a family reunion, per se, for my father-in-law at the Como Zoo.
Of course, because most family reunions take place at the zoo.
That's right. So we had my wife's brothers and sisters and their kids, and we even started the day worried that we might lose a kid because her brother has what I would call free-range kids.
Yeah.
So we were thinking, they would, get off on their own. So we were being really attentive to it, my wife and I. So we had probably our 12, 13-year-old niece with our 5-year-old daughter. It was like, okay, this is great. Well, all of a sudden, the 13-year-old niece comes up to us. We're like, where's Tasha? And they're like, she's looking at us like, well, I don't know.
You're the parent.
All of a sudden, panic. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Panic sets in. So, here's the 25 of us that are left in the group because the two of them had walked a different path. We're like, okay, what do we do? So I said, I'm going to the exit because at Como Zoo, you got to go in and out one place. So I'm carrying our 2-year-old son, and I walk to the exit. So I'm standing probably 100, 150 yards from the exit as I'm walking towards it, and this little girl runs up to me and says, and I'm like, why is this girl running up to me? And she says, are you looking for your daughter? And I'm like, yes. And I'm getting goosebumps as I tell you this.
Ooh.
So I said, yes. And she said, she's over there with my mom.
Oh.
And my daughter, knowing she was lost, ran to the exit, even though we had said, if anybody gets lost, meet here, whatever. So I went over to the exit, got my daughter. I carried her and my son, literally, how you get that superhuman strength?
Yeah.
I think I carried them both for the next hour, but that's about how long it took for me to find my wife.
She was smart enough, though, to find an adult and figure something out, though, right?
Oh, but this is before cell phones and everything. So my wife had gone and found an attendant. They went to the office. There were over 20 lost kids in the office.
Oh, my God.
That day, yes. It was so packed. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, and it was way too crowded, for the zoo. But it was just one of those things. So it's like, well, won't you announce it? They're like, we can't announce it.
Because anybody can say, here's my kid.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So the office is way across the zoo. So it's like I'd walk to the exit. So I only was missing my daughter for about 10 minutes. My poor wife, I've never seen her so distraught when I walked up to her, and I'm holding the kids, and she just started running to me. In fact, I'm almost going to cry myself right now.
I'm getting a little choked up.
Happy.
Yeah.
She was so happy.
This is
And it was
crazy.
it's one of those where, you talk about that story,
Yeah.
and it's like you tell it with a little bit of humor, but it isn't funny.
Does Tasha have kids yet?
Oh, yeah, she's got 2.
Do you look at your grandkids and be like, you know how bad of a human your mother was?
When she was a little girl. So then do you break out the leash, Randy? My sister had a leash for I'd say 7 years.
I see these parents with the leash and I judge them so hard, but then now I understand why they do it when I hear your story.
She was a runner. She was a runner.
Our kids were absolutely great.
Yeah.
I mean, we never had to worry about our kids. We always had to worry about their friends.
Yeah.
And we thought we had this situation under control.
Yeah.
And it was a lapse of judgment on my niece's part. But I can't expect, looking back at it, that it's in any way her fault.
Sure.
I mean, it was something that happened.
Great story. Thanks
You
for
just
sharing,
blamed
Randy.